What is going on, everybody? This is Tyler Anderson with GetASax.com, your source for the best vintage and pro saxophone gear. Today, we are going to show you how you can record your saxophone at home, whether you're looking to make recordings for social media or recordings to share with friends. We are going to show you what you need and how to set it up. All right, let's dive in. All right, so let's start out with the equipment that you're going to need to record at home. The first thing that you're going to need is a microphone. For today's video, I'm going to be using an SM57. This is a great budget all-around microphone. You can use it at home. You can use it on gigs. If you are more interested in different kinds of microphones that you could get, make sure to check out the video we made on microphones that are good for the saxophone, linked in the description. You're also going to need an XLR cable to connect your microphone to our next piece of equipment, which is the audio interface. Audio interfaces are used so that you can record into your computer. They take the audio signal from the microphone and translate it into digital information that can be stored on your computer. There are a lot of audio interfaces out there at a bunch of different budget points. For today's video, I'm going to be using the Focusrite 2i2. This is a 2 preamp interface, so it allows me to plug in 2 microphones or audio sources and record them both at the same time. If you are just looking to record the saxophone and nothing else at the same time, you might want to check out Focusrite's solo interface, which is a 1 preamp interface. The next obvious piece of equipment that you need is a computer, and you need the computer so that you can run your DAW, which is your digital audio workstation. Our DAW is the piece of software that we use to record onto. If you're a Mac user, you may be familiar with GarageBand, which comes free on all Mac computers. For today's video and all the videos that we do, I'm going to be using Ableton Live. I like Ableton Live because it can be used as a traditional DAW like Pro Tools or Cubase, but its session arrangement view also makes it a very cool tool for doing some live looping, which we'll do videos on in the future. Now, a quick note for those out there who might be interested in getting Ableton Live. The Focusrite interfaces that I talked about earlier and that I'm using today, if you purchase one new, they are often bundled with a light version of Ableton Live. Ableton Live comes in 3 versions. They have a light version, a standard version, and a suite version. The light version is perfectly capable of doing what we're talking about today, which is just recording the saxophone at home. All right, now that you know all the equipment that you need, let's get it set up. So the first thing that we're going to do before we do anything else is plug our interface into our computer. Now, with most of the interfaces that come out currently, there might not be drivers required to run that interface. If there are, they will most likely download immediately when you plug that interface into your computer. If this doesn't happen, check out the user manual for the interface that you purchased to find out how to install the correct drivers. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to plug our XLR cable into our microphone, and then we are going to take the other end of that XLR cable and we are going to plug it into the first preamp on our interface. Now that we have all the equipment set up, let's go ahead and take a look at what we need to do to actually record the saxophone into your DAW. A quick note that all the information past this point is going to be specific to Ableton Live. If you have another DAW like Pro Tools or Cubase or GarageBand, just hop on YouTube and search how to set up to record on that particular DAW. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Ableton Live on my computer. The first thing that you are going to see when you open up Ableton Live is the session view. Ableton's session view resembles an audio mixer, if you're familiar with those, with each of these columns representing its own channel. Now, the first thing that we're going to do, because for the sake of today's video, we only need to record in one channel, we are going to delete these first 2 MIDI channels and the first audio channel. So all you have to do to delete the channel is click on it and click delete. So we should have something like this now where there is just one audio channel available. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we need to make sure that Ableton Live is communicating with our audio interface. So I want you to go down to the bottom of the channel, and right under where it says audio from, I want you to click and then go to configure and click on that. This is going to open the preferences tab, and once you're in there, you can click on the audio tab on the left. And the first thing that we're going to do is select our driver type. If you are using a Mac, you are going to be using the Core Audio driver type. And then if you are using a Windows computer, you will see something called Audio. Once you select your Core Audio driver, you can go down to Audio Input Device and click on that and select your Scarlett 2i2. We're going to do the same thing with the audio output, Scarlett 2i2. The next thing that we're going to do is select our sample rate. I will talk about this more in the future. For right now, I want you to set your sample rate at 44/100. We can skip the next selection, and then when we go down to buffer size, I want you to select 512 samples. Exit out of the preferences menu, and we will now get our microphone set up to record. So in the second dropdown on your channel, you're going to click and select the preamp that you want to use on your interface. Now you can see that when I'm talking, a green bar starts to appear next to Preamp 2 for me, which is the preamp that I have this microphone set up to. For you, if you followed my advice from earlier, if you start to make noise, you should see this green bar start to appear on Preamp 1, and you're basically going to select the one that is picking up audio. So now that we have this channel set up to record from the microphone that we have set up, we are going to hit the tab key. And what this does is it brings us over to Ableton's arrangement view. This view resembles what a traditional DAW is going to look like, so you're going to see all your channels vertically. So once we are over in this arrangement view, you can go over to the far right where your channel is and click the circle button, which should now be red. Once the track is record enabled, I can go up to the top and click this circle up here, which, as you can see, Ableton has now started recording the audio. Now, just one last tip for those recording the saxophone at home, and I will talk a lot more about using effects through a DAW in a later video. I want you to go ahead and hit tab so we can go back to our session view. And down at the bottom of the channel, there's these two dials that are called sends. I'll explain in more detail later what exactly is happening here, but if you take dial A and you drag it up, you are now adding some reverb to your signal. You will definitely want to experiment with adding reverb when you're recording at home. It makes everything sound a lot more natural. Thanks for checking out this video on how to record your saxophone at home, and stay tuned for all of our future content. Bye.